Hey, it's episode 18 of Bonfire Man.
Here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, that means I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been so exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire refreshes or unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the old and new chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape. According to my estimates, I think that's going to take about 10,000 hours to complete. If you're interested in all the specifics, minutiae, minor rules, exceptions, that kind of a thing, there's a Google Doc in the description that lists all of that. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough.
All right, so the beginning of this episode is going to be a little bit different. Last episode, we rolled the Barbarian village chunk, which itself didn't have that much to do, but the Stronghold of Security did, and it ended up taking me 11 hours and 43 minutes to do all of it, which is more than it takes me to do all of the chunks combined. So I decided to wrap that episode early, which means that today we still have to do the other chunks from chunk roll number 22, which is going to take probably another 10 hours, I would guess. I'm going to try to minimize commentary unless if it's like a level up or a new unlock or something like that, or an interesting drop from an enemy. But we're going to go top to bottom and knock all this stuff out, and then I will roll another chunk in this episode. We'll visit that chunk, we'll light the bonfire, and we'll complete it. And depending on how much content is there may be even an additional chunk after that. But let's go ahead and get started here. Knocking out Runecraft in the corner here. Runecraft 13. I can now make mud runes, which I don't know if I have enough talismans to do that, but maybe we'll do it. I'm going to come back and make some dust runes. Ooh, I fucked up bad. I brought a whole inventory of pure essence to make dust runes, and I forgot to equip a binding necklace, so I think that means I wasted this attempt. I definitely lost a talisman to it, an air talisman. Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed to come back and fix that. That sucks. Hopefully I won't make that mistake again.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to make that mistake again.
Mining 34. I don't think we care about mining levels until 40. The shooting star here, again, I'm going to go ahead and get a single bit of stardust from it. Eventually I'll be able to mine this to depletion whenever we clear a chunk that has one in it. Should hit 19 fishing. There it is. One more, although that level up doesn't matter until I get access to a fishing rod. Mining 35, which actually does matter because we get sandstone. I think I'm pretty far from rolling a chunk with sandstone. I guess technically we can roll the Ruins of Unka, and if we do that, the sandstone mine is directly north of there. So that would be really nice, actually. I could finally make glass. Over here, the Giant's Foundry had a really bad run there. Like, the mold he gave me, I just could not get good quality on it. It was bronze plus iron, so only 5,500 coins and a teeny amount of smithing XP. Hopefully the next commission will be better. Narrow Light. Also, I'm trying out a plugin that just came out. I think it just helps you out by highlighting which one to use, which is not particularly high skill decision to make in the first place. Yeah, it shows you your best mold, and I think it also helps you to see how many actions are remaining versus how much heat is remaining. It's called Easy Giant's Foundry. Alright, that's more like it for the iron steel. 12,960 coins, 6480 smithing XP. That's all I have resources for. 46 smithing. Another law rune drop here from Hill Giants. I'm going to kill one fewer Hill Giant than I usually do because the first cycle I accidentally killed 8. Getting a 2 law rune drop is like such a huge deal for this account right now because it's 2 trips of construction XP. Speaking of construction, I decided to make a quick trip. I reset my construction tracker spreadsheet, and we're going to build everything we can build once. I've got a bunch of oak planks on me, so I might be able to get a couple levels here. Yep, there's 21 construction. Oh, there's 22 construction with I just barely hit. Lets me make a dining bench and a dining table. I was almost going to waste a lot of this trip, but brought too many oak planks. All right, I got a clue scroll that I'm working on, but my home teleport's up, so I'm going to go to my house and do a little bit more construction. I'm going to build a decorative rock and an imp statue. I think imp statue's going to give me a level up here. Yeah, 23 construction. Can now make wooden shelves 3, which I need clay for. I don't have a ton of planks left, so I think that's probably as far as I'm going to go. I ended up building a crude wooden chair, a regular wooden chair, and a rocking chair, and that burned through all my resources, so back to Lumbridge. I have a beginner clue that's on step 2 to talk to Hans. I just got to pull it out of my bank real quick. Hey, 2-step casket. All right, come on, garbage. 4 law runes. That's not garbage. That's 4 construction trips. Thank you, Hans. Got a maple seed from a bird's nest. I think I can plant that for a little while, but that's my first ever tree seed that I might actually be able to use. Maple seed is level 45 farming. Yeah, that's gonna be a minute. I was hoping it was gonna be an acorn. Pretty wild. Just got a second bird nest with a seed in it, but I almost never get these at all. That one has an acorn. Hey, okay. Yeah, so we should try to plant that this cycle. Unfortunately, I already raked this patch, but I can also do the patch in Varrock. I guess raking is also fungible, so I could re-rake this one and then just not rake one of the other patches. Big boost of farming XP. Okay, so to make this tree, I'm gonna have to baby the patch, which is frustrating. But I also need to buy a bunch more tools. I have to get a pot, get some dirt. I think I got a watering can from a farmer before. I need to get some money to buy these from the farmer. Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to just watch it. I think I gotta get secateurs too, because you need secateurs to be able to deal with the plant and the tree in case it gets diseased. Ooh, I didn't realize that these farmers didn't sell secateurs. Okay. Apparently, they're a 1 in 128 drop from farmers. Yeah, I've killed 52 farmers before. I didn't even realize that this was a potentially exciting drop from them. I don't think I can plant this tree until I get the secateurs drop, because otherwise I can't cure the tree if it's diseased. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'll plant this sapling so I have the sapling, but other than that, I shouldn't try to plant this, I think. So I'm gonna go, let me just go kill the 3 farmers for this cycle. Maybe I'll get lucky and one of them will drop secateurs. I think I had slept on the farmer drop table before because I didn't realize that I couldn't just trivially get secateurs from an NPC. So that's 1 with no drop. I got 2 to go. I'll keep reporting these like I do with, or like I used to do with imps. Oh, yeah, there's 1 in here. Farmer number 2. Nope, coins again. There's a 3rd farmer, it should be up here. It would be really nice to get south of the River Lum because there's extra farmers down there. Yeah, no drop, all coins. Okay. Well, that's a new exciting thing every cycle. As soon as I get a secateurs drop from one of those farmers, I will plant this acorn. Currently working on chopping trees everywhere, but since I'm in Draenor, I'm going to go ahead and do water altar stuff really quick. So I'm going to make, let's see, mist. Well, we'll start with regular water runes, then we'll do mist runes and mud runes, and I'm not going to forget to equip the binding necklace this time. That's hopefully a mistake that I won't ever repeat.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to make that mistake again.
Really lost out on a ton of runecraft XP from that. It sucks real bad. Apparently ran out of air runes, so this isn't going to work with mist runes. I should be able to do mud runes, though. I think that'll get me a level up. That'll let me make fire runes, so I'll do that. I have 1 extra earth talisman. I'll pop in Varrock later and buy some more air runes so I can do mist. And I guess technically I should be able to unlock smoke runes too. It depends how much XP I get from crafting fire runes, I guess. Alright, sanity check confirming I have a binding necklace equipped. Mud runes. Runecraft is now level 14. You can now craft fire runes. Cool. I'm really close to 15, which would be smoke runes. So I think if I make fire runes once, I'll be able to do that. Did fletching 43 from fletching regular logs. I can now make silver crossbow bolts, which I might use silver bars for from now on. Oh, just had another pathing issue that got me a music track I didn't want. This ditch here, yeah. I was standing over here and I clicked somewhere in this direction to start chopping some trees and my character ran through here. So I just unlocked the forbidden track, which was literally forbidden. Oh man, let me show you the live split timer here. I was worried that I wasn't quite going to hit level 60 woodcutting last cycle. This cycle, because we were just short, it seemed like, but I think the extra trees in the Barbarian village chunk are gonna push us right over, because it says I only need to do like 40 more trees. It might happen. I'm kind of excited for it. I have to go find where all the yew trees are, because I've just been ignoring them this whole time. But I'll go try to chop them all down, and I think that'll reduce the number of chunks we have to do in the future. Alright, we've been building up to this for, well, this whole time, really. 6 days and 17 hours. Wood cutting 60. I can now cut down yew trees. I'm gonna ruin whenever I search in here, it uncollapses everything, which is annoying, but I'm just gonna search for yew so I can keep track of where things are. So I can actually finish the lumberyard, which means on future cycles I could go to that yew tree and just cut it for as long as I like. By finishing the lumberyard, I'll probably still chop the oaks and the yews. Maybe I'll skip the oaks. But I'll definitely skip the 90 trees that are back there. Definitely pickpocket these folks. Maybe kill the Black Knight. Can't finish Varrock Palace because of the guards. Can't finish Varrock Southgate because of the guards and other things. I can finish the Ham Hideout now. So our original shitload of trees chunk is going to be finished finally. And I can't finish Lumbridge Castle and won't be for a very long time. But yeah, that means that we can now complete 2 chunks and never have to do them again, which sounds amazing.
Hey folks, it's Future Marstead with what is probably going to be the longest tedious Marstead ramble in some time. If you would like to skip this, there's a time code in the description. So for this ramble, we're going to talk about skills. All of the skills. So I have a Google Doc that I keep referencing in the opening that details all this information. If you've read that Google Doc, none of this information is going to be new to you, although it might be interesting to hear me make these arguments. So somebody commented on a recent Bonfire Man video that Bonfire Man is basically Rule Man mode, and fair. I mean, that's true. There are a lot of rules. Part of the problem is that the concept sort of demands more rules than something more simple like a region-locked account. You know, if you're not allowed to leave Mauritania, you don't really have to specify too much on top of that. Chunk-locked accounts are already quite a bit more complicated from the beginning, and if you add the Bonfire Man rule of you need to interact with everything once, that sounds nice and simple when you first say it, but then when you start thinking about how RuneScape is structured, you kind of need to make a ruling for every individual activity in the game in order for it to make any sense. So that is what this ramble is going to be, talking about my rulings for every skill. So I'm just going to start with the combat skills and then go through the rest of them in alphabetical order. Okay, combat. Attack, strength, defense, ranged, magic. Easy. Simple. These skills are what Bonfire Man was envisioned around. There's only so many enemies in the game. You fight them with one of these 5 skills. They die. You can't fight them again. No exceptions needed. It's exactly what it sounds like. I love them. And for total complexity whiplash, we're going to go from combat skills to agility, which might be our most complicated skill. This is a good time to remind everyone of the Bonfire Man philosophy. There are 3 basic premises here. 1, we want Bonfire Man to cause us to experience as much of the game as possible. 2, anything that provides an infinite source of resources during a cycle is not allowed. And 3, this is not an extreme one-chunk style account. We shouldn't have insane, sudden difficulty spikes. The difficulty should be pretty much linear. Agility is problematic for several reasons. One of them is that shortcuts are really intended to be used back and forth repeatedly when you're doing other tasks, but if they give XP, there's nothing stopping you from jumping back and forth on a shortcut to grind for XP, and that violates the rule about infinite resources. There's also the problem that, for some reason, a good chunk of agility shortcuts give no XP. I mean, you have to get to a certain agility level to unlock them, but if they don't give any XP, then they're not really exhaustible. There's nothing to track about having interacted with them. So the ruling for agility shortcuts, if they give no XP, they don't count as an exhaustible task. They don't count towards 100% chunk completion. They're just an extra thing that you unlock. If they do give XP, you can't grind on them intentionally. You can still use them to go back and forth to places if you're going there for other reasons. If you're trying to fight the giant frogs in the lumbered swamp cave, it's okay to jump over the stones to get there, but you can't jump back and forth over the stones ad nauseum. It would be great if I could just stop there, but we have to talk about courses, and specifically rooftop courses. The original rule I had for rooftop courses is that you can do 1 lap per cycle. But there's a problem with this. Remember, Bonfire Man needs to encounter as much content as possible, and if you're only ever allowed to do 1 lap max of an agility course, you will never get Marks of Grace, because Marks of Grace always spawn after the lap completion on the next lap, and they'll despawn if you wait till the next cycle to do another lap. So the ruling to fix this is that if the agility course is in a 100% completed chunk, you can continue to do laps until the Mark of Grace spawns, pick up the Mark of Grace, and then finish the lap that you were on. We're going to call that depleting the agility course. This definitely inflates the amount of agility XP that's possible in 100% completed chunks, but it in no way makes agility reasonable to train. It's still miserably slow, but it makes it feasible that we could maybe do the quest cape at some point in the 10,000 hour target for the account. Okay, next skill is construction. You've been seeing me do a lot of this in recent episodes. The short version is that if I can teleport to my house, I can build each unique piece of furniture 1 time per cycle, which has been a fun restriction because there's lots and lots and lots of furniture, 99% of which most players never interact with. And then there's stashes. So you can only build stashes 1 time, but they do generate XP. And based on my logic that I have to complete all quests that begin in a chunk in order to call that chunk complete, I think I also need to build all stashes in that chunk to call it complete. Okay, cooking. Cooking's a processing skill, so it's basically unrestricted. Maybe some exceptions for mini games like the mess hall, but those are a ways off. We can talk about them when they come up. Crafting, also a processing skill, also basically unlimited. We're already limited in the resources we can craft. No need to double dip there. Farming. Farming is a little bit complicated. I could hear the argument that farming is basically a processing skill, that you have to get the seeds from some other source and then plant them. However, there are many seeds that become effectively infinite really quickly. Also, unlike something like a smithing anvil, each of the farming patches accept totally different seeds, and if we're not careful, we could end up in a situation where it's just like a normal account and I'm just planting the most XP efficient seeds as often as I can. So the farming ruling is that I can plant 1 of each kind of seed in every patch that I have access to. So if I have 2 tree patches, I can plant 1 of each kind of tree in both patches. I think this achieves the Bonfire Man philosophy. We get to plant some really, really weird shit. Also, it makes XP gain pretty reasonable for this skill. Okay, fire making. Fire making is a processing skill, basically unlimited. It'll be limited in specific content like Winter Tot, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Fishing. Fishing is slightly more complicated than the other gathering skills because each node accepts multiple tool inputs. Like you could use either a lobster pot or a harpoon, or a small fishing net or a fishing rod. So the basic rule for fishing is you can interact with each node 1 time, and then it's exhausted. But that can't be the only rule, because if it is, fishing is completely unreasonable to train. Like the amount of XP that's in the game, there are so few fishing nodes compared to every other skill that we have to do something. And the something is that in a 100% completed chunk, you can deplete the fishing node. So you can fish at it until it moves, probably getting a maximum of 28 fish in your inventory. That doesn't address the multiple tools per node problem, though. How do we handle the fact that I can both use a net and a fishing rod at those nodes in Lumbered Swamp East? I think we have to let the player use both tools, because if you let them only use 1 tool, they're just going to use the tool that produces the more efficient fishing XP. So we have to basically treat the shared node as 2 separate nodes that are on top of each other. You have to interact with both the net and the rod, both the pot and the harpoon, and so on. This is true for both exhaustion and chunk completion, because I have to take the good with the bad. Now, cards on the table is future Marstead. I didn't know about the nodes in Lumbered Swamp East also accepting a fishing rod input. And so because I didn't realize that you could use a rod there, I call that chunk as 100% complete too early and start taking advantage of 100% completion bonuses a little too early, like being able to deplete the fishing nodes there. I do come up with a way to fix that. It's something I really like about Bonfire Man, If I make mistakes, it's easy for me to just fix them by skipping content in future cycles, but that is an error coming on the horizon, and I'll talk about it when it comes up. Next skill is fletching. Pretty straightforward production skill, no restrictions. Herb lore, again, straightforward production skill, don't need to restrict it. Hunter. I still haven't had very much experience with Hunter in Bonfire Man yet to be able to make an educated ruling on it. I've looked on the wiki. I've done the theory crafting research of looking at all the nodes, calculating how much XP is possible in the game, comparing that to the possible XP from other skills, and I think it can work by just saying you can interact with each Hunter node once, or you can catch each unique Hunter monster once. I think that's going to work without needing a special rule for 100% completed chunks. I think that will produce a decent amount of XP, but as I've seen with a couple skills, sometimes I need to actually train the skill for a little bit to understand whether it's reasonable or not long term. So for now, we're going to say there are no special rules around Hunter. You know, if there are 10 Chinchampas in an area, I can catch 10 Chinchampas regardless of which ones actually move into the boxes, since I can't control that. But I would say brace yourself for a potential rule change around Hunter. Mining is next. Mining's pretty straightforward. You can interact with each rock once. You don't have to make too many adjustments there. However, 100% completed chunks, we can deplete nodes. So that already applies to the Pure Essence mine. We've been using that quite a bit. If Volcanic Ash is in a 100% completed chunk, we could mine it until it depletes. Motherlode Mine, I think I'm going to have to address when we unlock Motherlode Mine. I don't know that I can make a ruling on that until I get into the content and actually experience it on a Bonfire Man. I've been leaning towards you can only interact with each vein once, unless if the chunk is 100% completed, and to 100% complete Motherlode Mine, we would have to get to the top level of the mine. Recall that Bonfire Man is different from a Chunk Man account, and that we're not concerned with the highest level thing we can do in a zone, we're just concerned with entity exhaustion. Have we tapped out all the entities? So I don't specifically need to get Rune Ore from Paydirt in the Motherlode Mine to call the Motherlode Mine complete. And I don't need to buy out Prospector Percy's shop or anything like that, but I do need to get to the upper level, and that has a really high mining level requirement. It might not be possible for us to get enough nuggets for it. I think we're just going to have to make a ruling for it once we unlock Motherlode Mine. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, basically. The other thing for mining is shooting stars. Shooting stars are intended to be mined repeatedly to depletion. If a shooting star falls in a 100% completed chunk, we are allowed to mine it to depletion, which if we find the star ourselves and don't get interrupted by any other players, could potentially be a couple hours worth of mining, which is going to be... I have no AFK on this account. I think I've mentioned this a couple times, but this account is incredibly attentive. Usually, RuneScape YouTubers can edit while they're fishing or something, but I can't do anything like that. Nothing is AFK. So having the shooting stars as a potential source of editing AFK would be really nice, and also give us a little bit more mining XP per cycle. It's still not going to be anything close to what a real account could get, but it's going to be more reasonable to train the skill. Okay, prayer. Prayer is a processing skill, basically. It's based on how many bones we get from other sources, so it's not limited in any way. Runecraft. So Runecraft, I decided to put an arbitrary limitation on just to try to increase the amount of unique content that we see. Somebody actually commented on this issue too on a recent video saying, hey, why are you treating Runecraft altars differently from smithing anvils? Aren't they basically the same thing? I see Runecraft altars as different from smithing anvils for a couple reasons. One is that it's a lot easier to get an effectively infinite amount of essence than it is to get an effectively infinite amount of ore. You can get orders of magnitude more noted pure essence from certain PVM activities than you can noted ore. A really effective PVM activity might give you 50 mithril ore or 100 mithril ore, and that same activity might give you 5,000 pure essence. There's also the fact that each altar produces different runes, and that if you're unrestricted in how you use pure essence, that you're just going to use the most effective altar that you have access to, right? You're just going to make lava runes like every normal account out there. Bonfire Man wants us to interact with each unique piece of content possible, and so to encourage interacting with the shit tier altars, like the elemental altars, you can use each altar to make each kind of rune it can make once. So I could go to the water altar, I can make a water rune, a mud rune, a mist rune, and a steam rune, and then I'm done. I guess I said a rune. What I mean is a full inventory of essence, and it's a full inventory including pouches whenever we get access to pouches. I see how that's still a little unclear because it still feels like, wasn't that just a processing skill? Aren't you still limited by essence, even if you can get tens of thousands of essence? The more important reason for the ruling is that I want to be forced to use all of the altars, because if I'm not forced to use all of the altars, I will only ever use my best altar, and that is kind of boring. Okay, Slayer. We got to talk about Slayer, folks. I was really hoping that Slayer was going to be a straightforward skill, that it was just going to work like combat. That it would turn out that there's just enough enemies in the game world, and that the Slayer tasks are calibrated in such a way that if I get a Slayer task and it's a monster in my unlocked chunks, it might take me a while to complete it, but it's going to be reasonable and we'll be able to slowly train Slayer over time. So it turns out that there are a good number of Slayer tasks that are like that. For example, there's like 56 hill giants in the entire RuneScape game world, and the largest possible hill giant task you can get is 120 hill giants. So if you had the entire game world unlocked, a hill giant task would take you no more than 3 cycles to complete. The problem, though, is that Jagex did not design Slayer task counts to have any relationship whatsoever to the total count of enemies in the game world. They're very much expecting that you're going to re-kill a respawned enemy over and over. And again, that would be fine. I'm fine with Slayer being way slower on this account than it would be on a normal account, but we have to define way slower. Because there are certain, I'm not going to spoil which tasks, but there are certain tasks in this game where the ratio of total monsters in the entire game world to the size of the task is so extreme that just getting the task would result in a mandatory, like, 1,000 plus hour block. And again, I'm super cool with a 1,000 plus hour block. If it's a one-time breakpoint to work toward and overcome, if we can say, oh, once we complete this task, this is never going to be a problem again, I would actually love that. I think that would be really cool for the account. But there's nothing stopping the Slayer Master from giving us that exact same task again 2 tasks later. There are way too many of these tasks for this to be solvable with skips or blocks, so we have to come up with some other long-term solution, or Slayer is going to be a dead skill. The big goal for this account is unlocking all of the chunks, but the soft goal is doing the quest cape, and we need to make a change to the Slayer rules if we're going to be able to make the quest cape possible. So, mild spoilers for a future episode, but I do encounter one of these catastrophic tasks where the size of the task compared to the number of enemies in the game world is so terrible that I know I'm going to be blocked on Slayer for like 700 hours, I think is my calculation. So I reached out to my advisors, Chaos Factor, Troc, and Game Saucer, and I said, hey, I just had this catastrophic Slayer task. It's going to shut down the account. What do you think we should do? We talked about a couple solutions, but Chaos Factor had a really elegant solution that I wish had just been my idea from the beginning. I wish I had been talking about this back in episode 1, because I really like it, and I think it fits thematically with the account. So the solution is you can do 1 Slayer task per master per cycle, and during the Slayer task, the on-task monsters are protected from exhaustion. So we have this whole FromSoft bonfire theming going on where, like, when enemies die, they're not allowed to respawn. But there is actually a mechanism for enemies to respawn in FromSoft games without resting at a bonfire. Games like Bloodborne and Elden Ring and a couple of the Souls games have enemies that ring a bell, and ringing the bell resummons enemies that you've killed. So I kind of like this idea of like a spectral Slayer master who's ringing a bell to resummon all of the exhausted monsters until you complete your Slayer task. I'm going to use that as a sound effect when we do Slayer tasks. I'm going to put a little image of the Slayer master with the bell and then play the bell sound from Elden Ring. I like this rule for a couple of reasons. By making it 1 task per master per cycle, we're encouraged to seek out tasks from a variety of Slayer masters. Normal accounts pretty much just use the most efficient Slayer master, and I think it'll be cool to get the weird tasks that are associated with some of the lower level Slayer masters that nobody uses. Finally, I should add that even with this rule, Slayer training is still miserably slow. Even if I had 3 Slayer masters and I could do a task from each of them, the kinds of monsters low-level Slayer masters are giving you are terrible Slayer XP, and this is still not going to be game-breaking for the account. We're still going to be getting way less Slayer XP per cycle than we're going to be getting woodcutting or basic combat XP. But it does increase the amount of XP enough that Slayer becomes reasonable to train, and we might actually be able to do the quest cape now with this rule. So thank you, Chaos Factor, for that suggestion. I like it. I like the flavor of it. Look forward to its implementation several episodes into the future. Smithing is next. Smithing, it's a processing skill. It's limited by ore. You can do as much smithing as you want. Okay, so thieving. Thieving is a huge pain point for Bonfire Man. This is the kind of thing I said that I just wanted to play the account and then figure out the rules as we go, as opposed to waste a bunch of time at the beginning theory crafting for a mode that I might not even want to play. I do want to play Bonfire Man. I think this is fun to do. But if I had spent that 100 hours theory crafting, I would have come up with the correct solution for thieving. So what am I talking about when I talk about theory crafting? If you go on the wiki and you pull up the level up table for any skill, let's use mining as an example. If you open up the level table for mining and you open all of the mining activities from level 1 through level 15 in a new tab, and then you look at the count of rocks in the game for each of those activities, and you multiply it by the amount of XP that those rocks give. This gives you the total amount of potential XP in the entire game world. If you had the entire game world unlocked and you interacted with every mining node between level 1 and 15 exactly one time, how much XP would you get? Mining is a pretty middling skill in this regard, but it turns out you would get about 16,000 XP. Okay, so let's do the same thing with thieving. I should have done this week 1 of the account. If we take all of the thieving nodes in the game between level 1 and 15, men, women, vegetable stalls, bakery stalls, crafting stalls, tea stalls, farmers, female ham members, chests, winter squirks, that kind of a thing, and you total the possible XP in the entire game world of RuneScape from level 1 to 15, it's like 1,800. So that's assuming the entire game world, and it's a factor of 10 less than mining. So how many levels of thieving do we need in order to get as much XP in the entire game world as we get at level 15 mining? Well, it turns out if you go all the way to level 40, which is when you've unlocked 86 pickpocketable guards, there's still barely 13,000 XP in the entire game world, and this problem gets worse the more things you add. When we say go to level 40, we're also including things like Pyramid Plunder Rooms 1 and 2, so Pyramid Plunder doesn't even fix this problem. So this is really bad. There's not enough thieving XP in the game to train it realistically as a Bonfire Man. It's like a factor of 10 less than mining, and it grows to a factor of 100 less than most skills over time. I should have identified this very early, that this was a problem. I have said a couple times that thieving is going to be a challenging skill to train, but I assume that if we unlocked a certain number of chunks, that it would get better over time as we got higher level nodes. But even like unlocking 86 guards at level 40, it's not even close to making thieving a realistic skill. So to fix this, it's a pretty simple solution, one that I should have deployed sooner. In a 100% completed chunk, you can deplete thieving nodes, meaning you can steal up to 28 times from them. That would still be really terrible XP. The way you're supposed to train thieving is to fill up your inventory with coin pouches, open them, and then do it again over and over for many hours, which is not what I would be doing here. It does make thieving a little bit more realistic, and it means that the quest cape becomes possible again. Our last skill is woodcutting. Woodcutting, super straightforward. Plenty of nodes in the game world. Same rule as with fishing. When we have a 100% completed chunk, we can continue to chop the rare trees in that chunk until they deplete naturally. It's about a 1 in 8 chance. Okay, that was like 22 minutes. Thank you for listening. We're going to continue to make rulings on individual activities and mini-games as they come up in chunks. But in the meantime, I think that's a pretty good bird's eye view of how every skill is going to work in this mode. Hunter might need to get adjusted once I actually am able to train Hunter a little bit and see how it feels compared to the other skills. But I think we're in a place now where every other skill, the quest cape is now possible, even just based on the chunks we've unlocked so far. It's going to be slow and horrible, but it could happen. Again, thanks for listening. We'll put you back to the playthrough here.
Okay, I think I've chopped all of the trees in the game world for this cycle, except for the yews, so I'm going to try to just get those out of the way. All right, chopping my first ever yew log. There it is. Very nice. I can't do anything with that, because the fletching level to do anything with it is way too high for me to ever get, or at least not for a very long time. But it's still pretty cool. Alright, so we got 4 yew trees technically in Varrock Palace chunk. There's 1 here and then 3 behind the castle. Alright, it takes a really long time to chop yew logs. It's really, really slow. But the lumberyard chunk is now complete, and that reduces the number of trees I have to chop in future cycles by quite a lot. Just temporarily collapsing these. I still have to chop 4 yews in the ham hideout chunk, which will be done once I do the other things there. And 1 yew in Lumberch Castle, so I think I'm just going to teleport back there. Really quick before I go to do some construction training, I'm going to buy some more air runes. I need them for runecraft training. Alright, that's 10 air rune packs, which is... I am now officially out of air rune packs from Aubrey. I can still do the normal stock of air runes, but I bought 80 of those packs. 24 construction. This is off of rebuilding the wooden bookcase, wooden shelves, beer barrel, and wooden order. All right, and with a wooden workbench, that's all I got for now. I might come back one more time because I think I have enough regular planks. At least I have enough regular logs to turn into regular planks that I could do this on one more trip. But I don't know if we're going to quite hit 25 construction. Finally, about time to say goodbye to my second ever chunk. Ham hideout, my first randomly determined chunk. I've been chopping these trees for many hours. I just need to chop this last bit of yew. I guess technically I need to go through and kill the goblins and the unicorn. Yeah. But the yews are done. I'm also going to pick up the air rune spawn over here and the pot spawn. Oh yeah, I got to kill all the critters too. I need to not remove those from any chunks until I go to complete them. I think I can remove it from the list once I've completed the chunk, but I got to kill all these regular spiders and giant spiders, so I'm going to do that also. Alright, this unicorn and the pot are the last two things I have to do, and I'm done with the ham hideout chunk after all this time. Okay, here it comes, picking up that pot. That's the last thing. It is finished. Whew. Goodbye, ham hideout. I mean, we're still going to do the underground ham hideout, but I don't have to do the surface anymore. Alright, and here's the live split timer. This is the amount of time it took to chop all that wood and then I guess also wrap up this chunk really quickly. I'm gonna get back to, now that chopping wood is done, because it always takes forever, I'm gonna start working on PVM stuff, killing things. Before PVM, I've got the air runes to make my mist runes here, so I'm gonna do that. Runecraft level 15. You can now make smoke runes, so I'll do both of those when I get to Alkarid later. Got a law rune drop from these skeletons in the Draenor sewers. Very, very good. Got some air conditioning guys coming over for an appointment, so I might not be able to talk too much, but I'll summarize whatever I miss. I think the only thing interesting that could happen is we could get a random event. Alright folks, I got a few things to report here. I wasn't able to talk very much because we had a HVAC guy out. So I'm just going to summarize what all happened. I got a hit points level a long time ago, a strength level a long time ago. I hit thieving 27, which is pretty good. Got that on ham guards. That's going to let us pickpocket the seed stall in Draenor Village. And I also bought out the mine rune stock so that I could do some activities down in like the lumbered swamp cave. I'll review the drops from everything later. Nothing particularly exciting, our usual like nature runes. In the process, I did 2 beginner clues that I was able to complete, so let's open those caskets. They're probably both terrible. That's terrible. Absolute trash garbage. And that's also terrible. Tradition. See, I can no longer buy mine runes from Aubrey, period. I only have 700 left, and that's going to get me through moss giants in future cycles. It's got to get me through giant frogs. I got to be really careful. I could probably buy chaos runes, and in theory that'll speed some things up a little bit. I can do wind bolt, I think it is, but that gets really expensive really fast. I'm going to be careful with it. I'm almost done with the cycle though. I don't have terribly much more to do. As you can see, everything that's collapsed is completed. Got a couple things to do in Alkarid though, so I'm going to knock those out. Alright, crafting my first ever fire runes here. Which is enough for Runecraft 16, which is a meaningless level. I'm going to make, I think we said we could do smoke runes. I'm going to make those real quick. Oh damn, both level 17 and 18 are pointless. I guess I get 2 water runes per essence at 19 Runecraft, which isn't bad. And then steam runes at 19. Here's smoke runes. I did it again. I did it again. Forgot to wear a binding necklace. I need to put... I'm going to start putting it on the names of the tasks here so that I won't forget.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to make that mistake again.
I think I have one more construction training trip in me here. Almost hit level 52 magic from that. Unfortunately, I'm just short of being able to hit 25 construction, which would be another oak thing, the tool store too. Oh well. Alright, stealing from seed stalls for the first time ever. Steal from 2 stalls here. Got a barley seed. A single barley seed. And I don't know if I can get the other one. I guess maybe I can try to lure the guard the other side of the thing. Let's see. Don't fight him. I've already killed this guy. And a single sweet corn seed. So those will build up eventually if I have to do it every cycle, but it's not very much. Well, I just got an easy clue step that I can actually do. I usually don't report on beginner or easy clue drops anymore unless if I actually complete them, but easy clues I've really been having a hard time with. Apparently I have a 3% chance to complete the clue, so this probably isn't going to happen, but I may as well go give it a try. Oh yeah, that iron full helm paying off finally. It's a pretty rare drop. And step 2's in the exam center. Womp womp. Here comes prayer 38. Prayer levels are getting really slow now. I desperately need protect from melee to be able to unlock more content, or at least make more content tolerable. I wouldn't mind flicking protect from melee. I've done that before and can do that. I'm pretty confident with my ability to flick indefinitely, but I need to actually have the prayer unlocked to do that. So I keep playing around with this new left-click swap pickpocket, and I accidentally double pickpocketed a woman. I'm going to make up for it in this cycle by under-pickpocketing men, because they have the same table, but it sucks. I don't like it. I'm on my last task for the cycle, which is just cows. I tend to save this for last since it involves multiple banking trips. Once this is done, it's time to roll a new chunk. Alright, this has been a hellish cycle. I'll show you the live split timer here in a second. That's my last cow there. Mark all of my tasks complete. This has taken me 21 hours, 33 minutes. More than double what it took me for the last cycle, and almost all of that was spent in the Stronghold of Security. I'm going to pause the clock there. This will be our time, and I'm going to head back and we'll summarize and roll a new chunk. I'll see you soon. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about here, so this end of chunk summary is going to take me some time. I'll put a time code in the description to jump to rolling a new chunk if you want to skip this. So let me just go through all of the tasks here. I'll just expand them. Screwed up these smoke runes, sadly, and the dust runes. Marked a few chunks complete though, so that's nice. That should chill things out a little bit next cycle. Loot tracker, this is accurate for the entire cycle, so I'll just start from the top and scroll down slowly here. The loot tracker survived my Runelight crash forever ago at this point. Let's loot. Supply usage, pretty brutal. Look at that food usage in particular, and runes. So yeah, I gotta be real careful with food from now on because I don't have very much left after all that. That was just to finish the Stronghold of Security. So hopefully I've got some time to rebuild those supplies before I roll another difficult chunk like that. Here's our XP. I lost a little bit of XP due to the Runelight crash, primarily stuff from the Stronghold of Security and Barbarian Village chunks, because that's all I was doing at the time. So mostly missing strength and some woodcutting XP, and I guess maybe a little bit of prayer XP because I would have gotten some from burying bones inside the Stronghold of Security. But here's our XP gain from after the crash, still very high compared to previous chunks. You noticed our total XP gain in prior cycles was nearing 100k. We went way over 100k just because of Stronghold of Security this time. Here's the XP totals. Levels that are interesting. 20 fishing, but we need a fishing rod. 50 smithing. but that's probably going to take several more episodes. It'll be nice to be able to make gold bars at will. Really close to an agility level up here. I need 10 XP, so I might try to go straight to the Lumbered Swamp Caves next cycle to see if I get lucky and get 10 XP there so that our next lamp can count for more. Obviously, Prayer 43 is a huge priority, and the sooner we get that, the better. I might look into crafting. There might be some jewelry that I could make that's useful. I'm still getting a lot of use out of this Amulet of Accuracy. That thing has never mattered for me on any other account before. Our bank summary is going to be long and complicated today because there's a lot of new stuff. Okay, cleaned up. We've got 3 pieces of the Skull Scepter. Hopefully we'll get it next cycle from Flesh Crawlers. We need 1 more piece. 16 Wolf Bones, 3 Unlit Torches. This is my new best in slot melee setup, an Adamant Full Helm, Mithril Plate Body, and Adamant Plate Legs. Shade Robes. It would be really nice to get that Shade Top. It's a better prayer than what I currently have. Adamant Arrows, 11 Mithril Ores. I've picked up some planting-related items here for purposes of planting that acorn that I got, which I now have as an oak sapling, but I'm waiting to plant it until I get some secateurs. Maple Seed, 26 Mud Runes, 13 Yew Logs. Got a lot of seed drops today from Moss Giants, actually. I think those still show up in this list. Well, look at all these seeds from Moss Giants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of seeds from 10 Moss Giants. Oak Sapling, the Smoke Runes, a Mithril Arrow, and this Oak Short Bow, which I guess is... I could craft it, but it's good to have it for step. All right. Remember to clean up the bank this time. Let's scroll through it, show you everything that's in here. Running out of elemental talismans. I'm not going to be able to make combination runes that use air runes for much longer. They drop somewhat reasonably frequently from goblins, but I need lots of them now, and I hope I stop screwing up and I actually use my binding necklaces. I'm actually put that by my talismans here, so maybe it's less likely that I screwed up in the future. Okay. I haven't been making my oak longbows to sell because I have Giant's Foundry as a source of money, but I might do that if I get desperate in the future. I like building up the stack of them, though. Alright, that's the bank. I think that's everything to show you. Total playtime, 7 days, 27 minutes. Just past the 7-day mark just now. Let's pull up the chunk roller. Hey folks, real quick, so this is after I've rolled the next chunk, before I've gone to the next chunk. I'm doing my usual sanity check to make sure that I did everything in the previous chunk, and I noticed when I scrolled through the loot tracker there that I missed killing a single jail guard and a single wolf. Which right now I've occasionally killed too many creatures and gone back and fixed them later, but I can't go back and fix killing too few creatures if I had the ability to kill them. So I'm just going to clean that up really fast. This is just going to get stitched into before the chunk roll. There's a jail guard over in Draenor, and I gotta go back to the Stronghold of Security to get the wolf that I missed. Here's the missing jail guard. I usually catch this in my sanity check, but, well, I guess this is part of the sanity check. And I'm gonna pop over to the Stronghold of Security for the other one. Okay, so the jail guard was a mistake. I think the wolf I actually did kill 16 rather than 15. It's weird because my loot tracker tracked it separately from my loot logger. But I can tell based on how many wolf bones are in the bank. So I'm just going to pop over to the bank real quick and test that. 16 wolf bones, we're good. Okay, that was all. Enjoy the new chunk being rolled. All right, we're here in the chunk picker. Please refer to previous episodes to hear my thoughts on the majority of these chunks, but I'll talk about some of the notable ones. The ones that just got added, I would very much like to get this chunk here because it gets us closer to Falador, it gets us closer to the monastery, gets us closer to Taverley to unlock Herblore. There's actually not terribly much exciting about this chunk itself, but it's the things it connects us to, and the fact that it wouldn't be too terrible to have as an unlock. This is another chunk that's now available that I absolutely do not want. I've actually reclassified. We got these 3 orange skulls. I'm saying is I kind of don't want those. It would be pretty frustrating to get them because there's nothing new as a result of unlocking them, but I could live with it if I got an orange or a yellow skull. This red skull would be really bad. I guess I could technically do Ernest the Chicken, but because I wouldn't be able to do Animal Magnetism, it would be stuck as an unlocked chunk for a long time, and there are 564 dead trees in the Drainer Manor chunk. I don't want to chop those. I would have to. There's probably a good chunk of them that I can't even reach because they're just kind of placed so haphazardly in that zone. But yeah, I very badly do not want this chunk. I would not be pleased if we rolled it. Highest chunks that I want? Well, I didn't recalibrate that. I guess technically I would say Unka right now would be my number one most wanted chunk, because then I can finally get a fishing rod and start some fishing and get closer to Temporos. Second highest, probably Edgeville. And then I think Ferox probably gets boosted up here. I'd really like to get Ferox. There's some cool stuff there and some cool connections there. Paterdomus, too. Would love to be able to get into, finish up Priest in Peril and get access to Mauritania from that point forward. So those are my general thoughts. I'll try to clean this up for next time so that it's clearer what I want and what I don't want. But let's go ahead and roll a chunk here. Pick chunk. No whammies. Don't get me Drainer Manor, for the love of God. Edgeville. Just past Ruins of Unka. I would happily take Edgeville, I think. Am I going to regret this now? I don't think so. There's a lot of content, I guess maybe is a problem. So there's a lot of enemies to kill. This does mean we can do what lies below? Technically now? Yeah, I think we do. We need to get our runecraft up to like level 35 to qualify for it, so that's going to take a while, but it's technically possible now. Tree count is not too bad. 36 regular trees, 11 dead trees, so we can work around that. That's not the end of the world. Just looking for stuff that I absolutely can't do here. Previously it would have been use, but I can do use now. It's going to be nice that I can take the canoe to get here, since it's also a bank location. It's going to make Stronghold of Security stuff more convenient because I can pop right up to the bank here instead of having to go all the way here or to Lumbridge. It's got a furnace that's really close to a bank. Our best one until Prif, I think. Just trying to read if there's anything on this list that I know for a fact that I can't do right now. Shops are good. Oh, we get access to a Slayer shop. And technically we get access to a Slayer Master. The only Slayer task I could do from Cristelia is a rat task. I don't even know if she gives rat tasks, so I'll have to look into that. NPCs all look good. We're closer to the chunk that has Enter the Abyss, which we're going to need for things later, so that's also good. The big thing we need to worry about then is going to be, is we can't access the Basement of Doom because we're not doing Recipe for Disaster. I don't think that means that we're not able to complete the Edgeville chunk, because the Basement of Doom would be tracked as a separate chunk anyway. Same goes for the ability to teleport to Zanaris via the fairy ring there. The Edgeville dungeon we need to track separately, like we did with the Stronghold of Security, and I should look there to see what all there is to do. But I think that the surface chunk of Edgeville we're going to be able to complete. We'll be able to exhaust all of the resources that are there. Since I'm already going through all this, let's look at the Edgeville dungeon. There's... Well, okay. We might actually be okay. So there's a lot of enemies down here. This is a lot of dudes. There's also a normal Slayer Master down here as well. Although I think it's a higher level Slayer Master than we can use at the moment. I'll have to double check if we can get Vinaka or not. But I'm noticing that there's a lot of new enemies down here that technically count as being in the wilderness. So I guess Cristelia would be able to assign us to her, which would be good. Let's look at Vinaka here, actually. For some reason I thought Slayer Masters were based on your Slayer level, but they're based on your combat level, and this is combat 40, which I do have, so... Yeah, we might actually be able to do a Slayer task. It entirely depends on what he rolls. I'm going to look at both his monster table and Cristelia's table to try to maximize the chance that we get a Slayer task we can actually do. But it would be really cool to be able to start Slayer here. I think I can kill all of these monsters, though. I don't think any of them are blocked out. Obor is blocked off. Yeah, and so long as Obor is blocked off, I'm going to have to kill all of these every cycle until I'm able to get to Obor. Yikes. But hopefully there's 12 hill giants down there. and I have my other 7 hill giants. Hopefully I get a key. If I get 1 key one time and kill Obor, then I can consider the chunk complete and I can skip most of these in the future. Some more spider egg drops. Oh no, there's adamantite rocks down there? Well, that tanks that idea. There's actually a good amount of mining down there that I can actually do, but that adamantite rock... Nope, we're going to be doing the entire Edgeville dungeon chunk for probably years. I guess I can do more progression in rat catchers, but I need so many... Okay, never mind. I need so many different places to do rat catchers. Yeah, I guess that's everything. Well, that was a really long summary. We're going to go ahead and continue in the same episode, since the first part of this episode that you saw was just me finishing the Stronghold of Security cycle. So let's check out Edgeville. I bet it's going to be exciting. I'll see you in a few seconds from your perspective. Hey folks, I'm back. We got our new chunk in Edgeville. Let's go unlock it and light the bonfire. There's actually a Pride event running right now, which is kind of cool, and it's in my unlocked chunks. It's outside Barbarian Village. I don't know if it takes me places I can't go, but I'm going to try to do it later. That would be nice. Okay, we're here at the Edgeville chunk boundary. Let's go ahead and cross the fog wall. Entered the chunk number wrong, but fix it. Okay, and now let's light the bonfire. And we got the music unlocked, so I didn't accidentally stumble into this chunk earlier. Very nice. We will sit to rest. Awesome. All right, I am going to check out this chunk. There's a lot to do here, especially in the Edgeville dungeon, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to finish the Edgeville dungeon, both because I can't kill Obor, I can't get to the Earth Warriors, which require agility 15. I can't use the monkey bars or the obstacle pipe, and I can't mine the adamantite. So I'm going to have to be doing most of these activities every cycle from now on. I think this will be less of a pain than the Stronghold of Security, but it's still quite a bit of content that I need to interface with. Before I do too much here, I think I want to go do the Pride event, because I might actually change my headgear to the flower helm. I like the idea of doing, like, quote-unquote seasonal gear, right? We have the frog helmet because it's the kind of helmet you might find in a Souls game, but the floral crown is definitely the kind of thing you would get in a Souls game too, and it's only accessible because it happens to be in our chunk, so I think it would be fun to try to switch headgear whenever we get access to a new piece that is available and would fit in a Souls game. Talking to Gilbert over here. What are you doing here? I need a break. Stumbling misled. Need more colors. Need the roads different colors. Clash too much the grass. Dye the trees leaves. That would scare his sheep. About all these flowers. Start the Pride event. I'd love to help. Hopefully I can actually finish it. Pondering the expression. Did that mess up our clothes? May have overestimated my idea creating ability. Dye the flowers. Hopefully this all takes place in this chunk. I guess we'll see. Do that for me? Red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, and violet. We've got green carnation seeds. Legendary red rose, a gorgeous orange lily, a beautiful yellow pansy, a tenacious indigo iris, and a quality violet tulip. At the place where you turn essence into the power of the body. Oh no. First one's at the body altar, which I can't get to. So maybe I'll roll a new chunk and happen to get that chunk, because it's the one adjacent to us before the event ends. If not, we'll get it next year. So I'm back over here in Edgeville proper, and unfortunately we also can't complete Edgeville because I can't pickpocket these 6 guards that are here. I think there are 6 guards that are just barely in this chunk, and we're kind of hosed on them. but there's still other cool things to check out, so I'm going to try to do that. I guess I'll start by chopping the trees, since that's pretty easy and brainless. I think I can use the lever here to go to the deep wilderness, so then I can, but I can't teleport back, I don't think. So I don't think I get to unlock that chunk, or have to unlock that chunk in this case, because I can't use a home teleport from the deep wilderness. And I think you need to have diary to be able to use the lever on the other side to come home. Chopping you trees when you're like barely level 60 and have a steel axe is miserable. It takes like minutes sometimes. Let it be known that one of these 6 nettles back there can't be reached because it's behind the yew tree. There's a Soul Wars portal here, so I'm going to be adding the Soul Wars tile to my rollable chunks next time. I'm talking to Christelia over here, which I think the Slayer gloves are an upgrade over my currently available gloves, so I'll probably end up buying those. I'm not going to accept a Slayer task from her, though, because I have a much higher chance of actually being able to do the Slayer task from Vinaka down in the dungeon, so I'll check that out in a little bit. I was really excited about this general store because I thought this would finally be a general store and a chunk that I could complete, and so I could buy 2 bowls every cycle, but alas, because of the guards, I can't pickpocket them, so I can't clear the chunk. Alright, trees have been chopped, let's kill stuff. I gotta kill these outlaws, which are gonna be terrible XP. They give reduced XP since they're quest mobs. And I haven't actually been able to start that quest, I don't think. I've talked to... Yeah, I don't think I can start it until I have 35 Runecraft, but they do have some interesting drops, and they don't have that much health, so we'll see what we get here. Interesting drops, I mean copper ore. Other than, I guess they're basically the same as a mugger. I've never looked at these guys' models before. They look kind of cool. The mask and everything. Alright, all 10 outlaws defeated. There's the loot in the corner there. They actually drop things every time you kill them. Unlike muggers, which I think have a chance to drop nothing. Lucian, by the way, is technically a targetable NPC, but only temporarily and only after the Temple of Ikov quest. So I don't think I have to kill Lucian, because I don't think killing him is a repeatable task. And I think arguably he's a critter, because he doesn't drop any bones or anything. That's my argument. It's not going to matter for a really long time. I guess we'll wring our hands about it once I'm able to pickpocket guards and actually threaten to finish this chunk. I'm going to kill guards next, though. I guess the Slayer gloves have a 30-something Slayer requirement to equip. I can't buy anything from the Slayer shop that's useful at the moment. It's a short version. So there's a clan cup portal in the top floor of... This wasn't on the chunk picker. I don't know where that goes or what that's for. I have to look into it. I don't think it takes you straight to Ferox Enclave. Let's see. Looks like it's for a specific 2013 event that takes you somewhere in the Edgeville dungeon that doesn't do anything. Okay. So not anything interesting. Got it. In that case, I'm basically done with Edgeville. I have to track down a couple more imps. Probably annoying that they spawn all over this chunk and tend to wander into the wilderness and what have you, so... I'll look for them, but I think for now I want to go check out the Edgeville dungeon, which has way more content in it. So I'm going to head over in that direction. Alright, so I'm going to head down to the Edgeville dungeon soon, but first I'm going to go get my agility XP, because I already had 10 XP away from agility 4, in case I get a random event here. 52 magic, just barely going to be able to hit this on the way out. I need 1 more XP. So I'm guaranteed to at least fail, right? Yeah, okay. Agility level 4. Hooray! It's slow going, but the next XP random I get is going to be worth more, so that's nice. Alright, we are back at the Edgeville dungeon. Just going to start killing stuff. I might go pick up... I probably should have done this first. I didn't think about it, but I should have the Slayer task before I start killing anything, really, just in case it's something that I can do in this chunk. So let me go do that first. Alright, here's our first ever Slayer task. Can we do it, or are we going to be stuck for a while? 66 hill giants. Well, that's a good one. They have a lot of health, and I have them in 2 different areas, so it's going to take me several cycles to actually finish that task, but the fact that I can even do the task is insanely exciting. I'm going to go ahead and get that started right now, actually, because why not?
Hey, future Marstead, real quick. If you heard the 20-plus minute ramble, you already know that eventually we're going to change the Slayer rules so that it's 1 task per master per cycle, and the enemies are protected from exhaustion. I don't arrive at that rule until it becomes necessary. At this point, This Slayer task is pretty doable with 19 Hill Giants available. It's going to be a while until the bad Slayer task comes up that requires us to re-examine the rules.
Wow, I can't believe I'm going to be training Slayer here. It's like I'm playing RuneScape or something. Ooh, technically I'm going to unlock cave crawlers from this too, so that's more things to fight in the Lumbered Swamp Cave. I do have to be concerned about them poisoning me, but I think I can get an anti-poison. Get this brass key so I can sneak back in here later. I think Obor technically counts as a hill giant too, so that would be amazing if I could get some Slayer XP off of him. But I think we're going to get more than enough to get to level 10 here. I'll have to do the calculation. If I'm doing 35 per hill giant, let's see. It looks like by the time this Slayer task is done in a few cycles, we'll be level 17 Slayer, which I don't think gets us anything else. Oh no, that'll be just enough for cave slimes. Oh, that's so cool. More stuff to do in the Lumbered Swamp Cave. Outstanding. I'm going to start looking at cave crawler and cave slime drop tables, because now I'm excited about this sudden wave of unlocks. There's Slayer level 10. Can now kill cave crawlers. Outstanding. I'm going to report all of these precious Slayer levels, just because I get the XP so uncommonly. Alright, here comes 11 Slayer. And I gotta get out of here to bank. Oh, perfect timing. I just got a genie. Glad I went ahead and did that agility level. That was the first random event we've gotten, too. Let's go ahead and pop that on agility. Beautiful 40 agility XP. We need 72 to get to level 5. Alright, it's time for me to go to the wilderness section. I'm probably not going to be fighting Chronozon on the argument that I don't have the runes for the spells to finish him off. And don't know. I haven't made a decision about whether I'm going to try to kill him every cycle, because I don't think he even drops anything outside of the Family Crest quest. Let me look into it real quick. I guess he drops Vile Ashes, so I will definitely kill him as part of that quest, and when I have access to runes to kill him regularly, I will, but I think for now, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to kill him outside of the quest, to be honest. Alright, we're killing the thugs first. I think they have a somewhat boring drop table. Apparently, Skulled. That's very strange. Get out of here. I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm on a target world? Okay, so I was in fact in a target world. That freaked me out for a second. I thought I hit a player. I have that turned off. Alright, here comes 58 strength. Alright, killed the thugs. No interesting drops. On to Chaos Druids. Alright, there's our Chaos Druid kills. We have to do... I can't do the Earth Warriors. There are some more skeletons down there. It looks like the chunk picker count is not agreeing with the wiki, so I'll try to fix that. There's a few more skeletons to kill. And I'm going to try to bring some magic down here for the black demons. Alright, all of the skeletons are dead. Now it's time to just do the black demons. I'm going to leave and come back. Well, someone actually just teleblocked me at black demons, which is something else, I gotta say. Go ahead and run out of here. I'm going to get my 191 mind runes off me. Oof. Alright, trying black demons again. Hopefully I don't get teleblocked here. I did make it out alive last time. They have a lot of health. This is by far the highest level enemy I've killed so far. They do have some interesting drops, though. Malicious Ashes guaranteed, but they can drop the Rune Med Helm and a Rune Chain Body, both of which would be enormous upgrades for me. And out of a 1 in 128, I get 3 chances per cycle, along with the Lesser Demon. It's getting pretty decent that I'm going to get one of these eventually. I probably should announce all of these kills, because they're hard to get. First one is a Guam Leaf. Not so great. I'm going to go ahead and spread the ashes, I think. 65 for our XP. Not too shabby. I think I might need to leave to restock on runes. I don't think I have enough to kill all 3 of them here. We'll see. Alright, second one dropped coins. So no drop yet. I'm going to try to make my current runes work here for the last one. Cutting it close on mine runes here, but I think I'm going to just barely make it. So bringing 200 is about right for the future, although I'm going to be out. I'm not going to be able to buy more from Aubrey pretty soon here, unfortunately. A single lobster. Not a great drop. Alright, well that means we are done with the enemy kills, at least, in Edgeville Dungeon. I can't do Chronozon, I can't do the Earth Warriors. Don't have a key to do Obor. I'm not going to be doing any of the critters until I can actually clear the chunk, which is a long time from now, but I do need a mine, so I'm going to grab a pickaxe really quick and come back for that. Alright, while I'm walking to the mining site here, I want to read a wonderful passage from the wiki that I feel justifies this mode. It says, there's a mining spot inside the Edgeville dungeon with 2 copper, 2 tin, 3 iron, 3 silver, 6 coal, 1 mithril, and 2 adamantite rocks. It is never used due to the large amount of monsters in the area, coupled with its distance from a bank. Living the dream over here. I actually get to use this mine that no one has ever used before. The mine is never used. I disagree. Alright, the mining is done. We are done with the Edgeville dungeon chunk. Can't do Obor. These trees are actually technically part of the Moss Giant, so I'll mark them complete when I do the Moss Giants. That explains why the count's been off this whole time. Can't do the Mithril, the Adamantite, Monkey Bars, the Obstacle Pipe, and I'm not going to bother with any of the critters. I don't know what I'm going to work on next. I might go and do the Stronghold of Security. I might also wrap this episode early like we did last time, since there's a lot of content now in the cleanup phase of a cycle, especially if we roll an interesting cycle after that, and I would say Edgeville counts. So yeah, we might do Stronghold of Security, and then I'll come back and we'll say bye, and then the next episode will include a chunk roll in it. So live split timer, 2.5 hours to do Edgeville in the Edgeville dungeon, which is a pretty significant add to the list from now on, but I think we can manage it. It'll get faster as we get better. Okay, so I got a beginner clue that I can do, and it is a emote clue, so I'm going to go ahead and build the stash here. Instruction 25. Now make a skill hall, crafting table 2, tool store 2, and an oak clock. I'm actually going to buy another red cape here so I can store these things. Done. It's a one-step casket. You love to see it. What we got? Blue wizard top. Nothing. Alright, items have been stored. Let's go back to the Stronghold of Security. That's another casket. This is a 2-stepper. A little late for that. That would have been nice a while ago, but I'll take it. I was looking at the drop table because it's a significant time sink for me to go and do these beginner clues. The things that are interesting on there for me are the black axe and the black pickaxe. I guess arguably the trimmed monk robes would be nice, but I don't really need those like I need the black axe and the black pickaxe. If I end up getting a chunk that lets me get a better axe and pickaxe, or if I get those drops, I'll probably stop doing beginner clues just because they're such a time sink, especially if I end up not being able to complete them. Just hit 54 hit points. I'm really struggling to target these flesh crawlers. I keep getting hit by these zombies. I think I'm going to start skipping. They do have drops other than bones, but they're pretty high level, and I don't think it's worth the time I'm investing in killing them. But I gotta come up with some way to deal with these flesh crawlers, because it is really hard to pull aggro on them when the zombies are hitting me constantly. Hey, there's the bottom of the scepter. We can now make the skull scepter, which is cool. And I don't think it matters what other skull pieces I get in order to charge it, because I think I can turn them all into skull pieces. As far as I know, they're all worth the same amount of charges. I'll have to look into that. So it looks like the Onko drop is worth a few more charges than the other kills, but they're too difficult to fight, so I'm just not going to bother with Onko. I'm just going to do flesh crawlers and minotaurs every cycle until I get significantly stronger or get protect from melee or something. Okay, I finished all the flesh crawlers. I think I'm basically done. No point in killing the giant rats because they don't drop rat meat and they're higher level. Not really going to bother with the catoblepins just because they're annoying to fight right now. They might be less annoying in the future. The Onkos are way too hard. The scorpions drop nothing. The skeletons drop just bones, which sucks. The zombies do drop stuff, but they're too annoying to be worth it. I'm going to just choose to skip them because I can. So I think that just leaves the one death super zombie and the shades, and I'm only going to kill shades until I get a shade top, and then I'll stop fighting them. I don't have a lot of runes to be able to fight them. I am going to finish killing the regular rats here because they are basically free prayer XP. I think I did a calculation and they're worth like 500 something prayer XP per cycle, so I think it's going to be very worth me killing all of them if possible. I need to get 116 rat kills. Alright, I'm becoming seriously concerned that I'm going to just run out of runes and then not be able to safe spot things for a while. I'm trying to decide. I think it makes more sense for me to go ahead and kill this zombie. Maybe not the shades, but I might do the shades anyway. I don't know. I think that the extra gold cost of buying a pack of chaos runes is huge, given that I don't actually get that much more damage using chaos runes over mind runes, right? The fact that I can never buy mind runes again until I complete the Varrock Square chunk, which I don't think is going to happen for a while. There's some quests that we need to be able to do there. Yeah, Bone Voyage, not going to happen. Or until we unlock a new shop, chunk that has a rune shop in it. We have 400 mind runes left. Well, I'll go kill the boss zombie because it's interesting and it has some cool drops. I'm also going to go ahead and make this scepter because I need to bring it downstairs anyway in order to imbue it. So there's the scepter. Let's take it down to imbue. I might actually use it because I think it can auto-cast Crumble Undead. Yes, but I don't want to be auto-casting Crumble Undead because I desperately need the rune saving, so I'm just going to bring an air staff. I'm going to bring it down there to imbue it here because I'll still use it for its teleports, I think. Hey, there's the imbued scepter. Very nice. Saying this boss, or this zombie is basically a boss for me. It's kind of hilarious in that respect. Has a ton of health. I can only kill one of it. And it has a really weird and interesting drop table. Let's see what we get here. Wasn't very exciting last time. I'll make the death zombie complete. This is probably ill-advised, but I'm going to try to see if I can get the shade top here. Crumble Undead. Just killed a shade and it dropped nothing. I don't think it's worth trying to kill the other three. I need to save my runes. I think that this is teaching me that I really need to level ranged. I'm not using range on these guys because their range defense is actually really high. It would take me forever. But if I get my ranged up, maybe it'll be a little bit more reasonable. And I can always make bronze arrows and get bronze arrows, so... I think that my strategy is anytime I have to kill something that has very low defense, I will go ahead and use ranged on it, but if it's a higher defense thing, I'll melee it still. And I gotta save my runes for moss giants, giant frogs, and that one big zombie boy. That concludes what I want to do in the Stronghold of Security, though, and I think that means I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the episode there. There's been a lot of interesting stuff with the Edgeville Dungeon and going back in there. So just to kind of quickly recap, here are our drops. Because I killed some zombies, and I killed some giant rats, and made some decisions about enemies that I don't want to kill in the future, I'm going to have to really keep track of what I didn't kill in the Stronghold of Security, so I'm going to make that note somewhere. XP's looking pretty decent at the moment. I'm pretty excited about being able to actually level Slayer. Like I said, I think we're going to be level 17, close to 18, once we finish killing all the hill giants for that. Next episode, we'll finish up this cycle, and then we'll roll a new chunk, and we'll see how it's going. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.